Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Yvonne from Ginger Chick Rehab. I am so glad to have you back checking out what I am up to. So in today's video, there's a monthly auction here locally where I live, and we usually try to see if there's anything that we're interested in. In the last auction, there was a couple beautiful windows. So I decided that we bid on them, we won them, $7 I think, so it ended up being $3.50 a piece. Probably the best deal other than free I've ever gotten on an old window. But I'm going to share the process with you, how I made these over with some beautiful, absolutely gorgeous decoupage paper to get them ready to resell in our retail booth, along with doing the mirror effect. So if you have not seen the mirror effect, oh my goodness, when you have an item on a window that's clear and you can't necessarily fit the whole paper on there or fit the whole background, it's just a wonderful way to fade it all in and tie the whole thing together. Then there were these two older window types. They have changed. You know, I love old windows, so I got those for $7. So for me, these are not my average window makeovers. They are maybe some type of a storm window. I don't really know what they are, but I really love the red of the frame. Very much. The chain's a little bit heavy for me, but oh my gosh, these are just gorgeous. Now this is just vinyl, so it's going to be able to be taken off pretty easily. So as you saw, it just pulled off, and just taking my little scraping tool is just coming right off. Now the only thing, this is a big window, it is older glass. I want to make sure that I'm not putting so much pressure on that I crack the glass. After getting the vinyl removed, I'm going to do the first cleaning. These are actually really filthy. They must have been out in the elements because they have a lot of dirt built up on them. So, yep, sometimes y'all do that. It's the first cleaning, not the final cleaning. It's the first one. Even though I removed all the vinyl, sometimes you need to take that scraping tool again and make sure that you get any of the adhesive that got left behind. Don't get me wrong, I like the chains, but when it comes to the chain, the thing is that takes up even more wall space, and if somebody doesn't have that much wall space, that's just going to detract a buyer. So a lot of times I try to hide our hanging systems if I can. So for right now, I'm going to take this chain off. So now I'm on to my second cleaning. Nope, I am not painting these frames. I love that red color. So, and I think it's going to coordinate with the paper I will be putting on these windows. So yep, second cleaning. This will be the final cleaning, but I want to make sure that I've gotten anything off of this window. So I don't know how many people watching saw my Roycycle paper reveal video. Oh, you all, it's a good one. It's a teaser of some of their papers and some of my favorites. So yes, I'm going to be using these old barns. Oh my gosh, see what I mean? That red frame matches this beautiful red barn. It almost reminds me of an autumn type of theme with the antiquing of the paper. So I'm going to go ahead and fit long ways the decoupage paper, and I know that I'm going to have some space. It's not going to be a complete fit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the mirror effect and kind of shade this barn in. So I'm just doing now is making sure that I've kind of got it level at the top, and I'm taking a Sharpie and then just marking on the glass where the decoupage paper is going to be. As you'll notice, I taped off the frame on both sides. I didn't want to take a chance of getting any of the mirror effect spray on it. So what I have now is I have a water bottle that's filled with half water and half distilled vinegar. And as you also, you'll notice that I'm putting my finger over where the spray to get big drops. So to really get that antiquing look with the mirror effect. when I'm spraying the mirror effect, I'm getting that main area that is not going to have any of the paper underneath, and I will be fading it in, kind of rounding the corners, letting that just accentuate that beautiful paper. So I like to do 2 coats, so this will be the first coat, but trying to get it so that it is completely covering and then letting that dry. As you can see, it stops being that gray color and is kind of shiny. And then I'll go back in with a dry cloth. I usually use Kleenexes because there's not any print on them, to dab the water spots off where it did not let that mirror effect stick. Once my Kleenex becomes wet, I discard it and get another one, because if I use a wet one, it'll start taking the mirror effect off. Personal preference on how many coats you want to do. One could be just fine, but I really like the layers, and it really gives it that pittiness to come back and do a second coat. While my mirror effect is drying, I'm going to go ahead and iron out. When your paper comes, it's been folded, so you have creases in that, so you can go ahead and iron it out. Now, even though I only used a parchment paper on the top, I did find that my paper stuck to my drop cloth underneath, so maybe 2 pieces of, like a sandwich, maybe 2 pieces of parchment paper. I did get it off the drop cloth, but I was a little nervous there for a minute. So I'm going to try this technique of making the edge not be so straight across. So all I did was wet it down, and now I'm just going to gingerly make little tears all the way across, just to give it that frayed kind of look. That way you're not seeing that straight line underneath. You might see your paper a little bit underneath the mirror effect, so I just want to make it look like it has been worn away with time. So this took me a little bit of a process, only because I didn't want to rip down too far. And as soon as you touched it, once it's been wet, it really does rip very fast. So using Mod Podge, I'm just going to now start to attach the decoupage paper to the window. Just double checking that I am centered one more time before taking a halfway point, folding my paper over, and starting to apply some of the Mod Podge to the glass. So I'm trying out a new technique, just a little bit, trying to help myself get rid of those wrinkles that kind of happen with this paper. So I'm just taking a mister bottle, misting it down, putting the Mod Podge down, I'm misting the paper, I'm misting the Mod Podge too, and then I'm just going to gingerly work it down on top of it. So yep, Mod Podge on the glass, mist the Mod Podge because it's water soluble, so it's all good, and then misting the paper itself. And I really find that it is working a lot of the wrinkles out a lot easier. So then I thought to myself, it couldn't hurt to go ahead and mist the entire paper down. I'm going to take a ball of saran wrap, not my fingers, so my fingers won't grab onto that paper and rip it since it's really wet. So just a ball of saran wrap to help smooth everything out. And if you notice, I just went with the Mod Podge to the tip of the paper, because yes, the Mod Podge will start taking your mirror effect off and you'll kind of see it. So if you go back to clean up any edges, just do it very gingerly like I am. I'm wetting it down and just kind of dabbing it. So instead of showing you the reveal, I have to let that one sit off to the side to dry before I can complete the back. So I thought, well, let's go ahead and work on this one. And it's funny because I changed out my drop cloth to a newer drop cloth we have, thinking that maybe it was something that stuck on my other one. But no, this paper still stuck onto the piece of drop cloth, but I was able to get it off. Oh, you know, us crafters and things that we go through. So even though my decoupage paper is a 20 by 30, the paper itself is the same size. The windows are not. So luckily this one's centered a little bit more in the middle that I'm going to go ahead and remove a little bit on both sides. So now to fray the edges of this paper, I'm going to go in with my mouse sander, a piece of wood underneath, and that's how I'm going to distress my edges of this paper. I need to do all four sides of this. It's two different techniques. The water ripping one worked out just fine, but it's fun to share two different ways of doing something. So yep, now I'm just going in with that mouse sander, just the tip, holding that paper down. I don't have my vacuum system attached. I did that the first time when I got this Festool sander, and I'm like, what's going on? Why is my paper getting sucked in? Oh, I had the vacuum attached. So yep, I'm just gingerly going in with that tip of that mouse sander to distress the paper. And of course, one more good cleaning. This will be that final cleaning because this is going to be the side where the paper is going to get attached. And then I'm going to go ahead, just like I did on the first frame, and tape off that wood. So what I'm doing here is I got a 2-inch piece of tape. I'm going to fold it over onto the other side because spray paint just goes all over, if you all know. So it's not only protecting the back side, but I need to protect the front side from the overspray. Just like before, I'm going to put the paper underneath. I'm going to center it to my best of my ability. So this is the front side that I'm going to be taking the Sharpie to. So when I go to put the mirror effect, I'm flipping it over, and then the mirror effect is going to go onto the back side. But I just want a general area so I know where I need to fade in and put my mirror effect heavier and then a lighter. And if you get impatient watching paint dry, yep, you can always use the assistance of the heat gun to help it along. Nope, that doesn't dry the water spots with the vinegar. It just dries that mirror effect. Now that this back of the paper is almost dry, I'm just going to go very gingerly and cut off that excess paper. And then my final step for the back of these is to seal this paper in. Because I didn't put another layer of Mod Podge on the back, I'm just going to go ahead and spray it with some Polycrylic. Now I want to protect my paper for one and the mirror effect for two. I don't want something scratching it, taking it off. So I have that same paper that I use on a lot of things here in the shop. Not only do I cover work tables with it, but I use it a lot for backs of wall decor. So we just have it on a roller, as you see. So I'm just cutting off a piece that will fit onto the back. Now there's a couple different things I've done with the mirror effect of like spraying it black, putting some gold into it. But I find that my favorite one after doing this many of the mirror effect is actually to take that contractor's paper and spray paint it black. That way it still has that backing effect. You're not seeing through the holes of the distressing of the mirror effect, and then it's not changing the color of the decoupage paper either. So not saying that it was easy to get this paper to flatten out and using my hockey pucks to hold it down. So I did cut it a little bit larger, but I really like that black backing on this. And now that it's dry, doesn't take too long to dry, I'm going to attach it to the back of this. So to attach it, I'm just using some hot glue. So I'll just run that frame is skinny, so I'm going to go ahead and just put a generous amount of hot glue on there to stick down the paper. After getting all four sides glued down, I'm going to take a very sharp X-Acto knife, kind of puncture a hole so I have a starting point, and then just run it down to the sides of the frame to cut that off nice and straight. And sometimes the glue kind of depends on if it went over the frame just a little bit. You might have a little paper sticking out, but I just take some sandpaper and then just take sandpaper around the entire edges, and that just ensures that you don't see the paper from the front. And then now I'll go ahead and attach a new hanging system, one that you can't see from the front, hopefully. I did have to off-center a little bit on the sides that I chose. There's a dip that isn't strong enough. This is old wood, so it wasn't strong enough to hold the screw at first. So I did have to place it out a little bit more onto the thicker edge. But I just wanted to make sure. That's why I like to attach the hanging system. I like to give that hanging system a good pull to make that it's on there, because I have actually lost a mirror in the booth once, not double checking and giving it a good pull. So now it's time to flip these over, now that I've got the hanging system securely on the back, and clean the front of it, removing that Sharpie line. Okay, so what did you think? One, I love the red. I left the red. Oh my goodness, yes, I usually paint them up. I've always painted windows to be, yeah, white. So leaving that barn red, I'm calling it a barn red. It was just a unique little frame, probably the skinniest frame I've ever dealt with a window. And I do think that it kind of coordinated really well with those old barns, and aren't they absolutely gorgeous? Now being able to add that mirror effect to take away the clear glass, oh yes, I just absolutely love it. And I've done enough mirror effect now, I'm kind of tweaking it down to what I feel works. So I just like spraying that back of that paper, and I don't think it distracts from the image and the mirror effect it all. So, oh my gosh, I just absolutely love these. So give me a quick comment down below. Have I inspired you in any way to look at old windows in a new way? And are you going to go and check out some decoupage paper to see what spikes your interest? The links will all be down below on Zazzle and Piglet's Closet, where I love to probably put way too many items in my cart because, oh my gosh, there's so many beautiful papers out there. So thanks again for watching today's video, guys. And as always, if you're part of our YouTube family, thank you so much. And if you are new and you're checking out this content for the first time and you liked what you saw, please hit that subscription button along with the notification bell so you know we've uploaded a new video. And we will see you next time, guys, and you can see what we're up to. Bye!